Today, we will be covering how to make money for beginners in No Man's Sky. I'll guide you through the necessary steps to get you set up for making lots and lots of units in No Man's Sky, along with some helpful tips to help get you a great start. This is episode 3 of my No Man's Sky guide series, where I'll cover many things in normal difficulty that can help you along your travels. So feel free to follow along in the playlist. All right, let's get into this. Now we're sitting in front of this busted hauler. Now I am actually on the quest alone amidst the stars. I've already gone through, talked to the busted ball. This is going to be the start of making your money in No Man's Sky. As you can see, it's got a lot of busted parts. We're going to repair the pulse engine, the thruster, and the shield. That's it. We're going to take out this lattice, the shield lattice right here with the little A on it. We'll take that out. We can have the components from that. And then we're going to fly this thing up to the space station and we're going to scrap it. So I'll see you when we get to the space station. Alrighty, we're in the space station now. We've created a save point by just dropping out of our ship here. You want to make sure that you got at least 9 or 10 spots, 8 to 10, something like that. Don't leave anything in the starship. So make sure that if you put anything in here, that you pull it out. So then you want to run up here to the right. Go to this little starship outfitting station. Go through click through the little options and stuff. You want to choose number 3. We're going to get roughly 1.3 million units out of this. Let me get out of this real quick. You can see that I've only got 550,000 units, and this was just doing exploring and stuff and selling things, getting to this point in the quest line. Choose number 3, claim the ship. It's going to warn you that you're fixing to scrap it. Choose number 1 to claim the scrap worth. There we go. You're getting some items. Then you run over here to this guy right here, the technology dude. Go through his text. Hit number 1. Go to sell. If there were any components, modules that you could sell out of that unit, or excuse me, out of that ship, you can sell them here for nanites. We're going to get 59 nanites for that. We want to sell this stuff here. Alrighty, sold my items. We're up to 1.69 million right now, so that's not too bad. That's going to get us going pretty good. Now what you want to do is you want to head out, go to the Nexus. You should be at that portion in the quest. Alrighty, so we're at the Nexus. You want to make sure every solar system that you jump to, you go to the space station and get your suit upgrade, your slot upgrade at each space station, and summon the Nexus in each system, because each system will offer you a new upgrade in the Nexus as well. Then finally over to the construction research station. This is the stuff that's actually going to be put in your base to start getting you set up to make money. You will get this storage container 0 from your base quest. So if you activate the base quest and then eventually go back and talk to your base terminal, you will get this storage container at no cost. So you can buy that or don't buy that. It's completely up to you. But you want to make sure to have power. So I like to do 2 batteries and 2 solar panels. So make sure that you're picking those up and putting those on your base, because we don't want to have to rely on carbon to fuel our base. Then over here, the 2 main things that you want to pick up is going to be this medium refiner. So make sure you should already have the portable refiner at this point. Pick up the medium refiner and the large refiner. Alrighty, so now that you've got all of your stuff, you can go actually to the teleporter in the Nexus, and you can actually port to your base from there. And you can see here that it says base computer archive. So we might actually be getting the storage unit now. I'm not sure. We'll have to find out. But we can actually go ahead and set up, you want to set up 3 medium refiners and 2 large refiners in your base. Alrighty, so here we go. We're at the base computer. We are getting the storage container plans. We got the storage container 0 at no cost. So if you actually have 5 more salvage data, then you can go back up to space, summon the Nexus, and you can actually buy the number 1 or number 2 storage containers. Because you can only have 1 of each container in your base at a time. Alrighty folks, now that we've got our 3 medium refineries and 2 large refineries built in our base, you're going to go to one of your space stations. I don't know how many you've got, but it doesn't matter. But find one that gives you some decent demand on oxygen. Mine is a sustainable system, so I'm getting anywhere from 4.5 to 700.5 oxygen per buy, and you want to buy as much as you can afford. Now I've already gone through about half of my money already buying oxygen, and I've got a little over a stack and a half. So I'm going to buy as much as I can, and then after that we're going to go back to our base. Alrighty folks, I have spent all of my money. You see I've got like 35 units left. I got almost 3.5 stacks of oxygen, which isn't too bad. So now we're going to go back to our base, and we are actually going to refine the cobalt first. So we're going to turn the little bit of cobalt that we have, I think I have 1900 of it, we're going to turn that into as much ionized cobalt as we can. Alrighty, we're back at base. We are in front of our refiners. We want to break this cobalt down to 4. So for 4 refiners. So we're going to pick it up. We're going to hit C. It's going to split it. Pick it up again. Hit C. Pick the first one up. Hit C. Splits it into 4. So it's not going to take very long for it to go and process those. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop it in here. So we'll put one of those in there along with a stack of oxygen. And we hit begin. We'll do the same thing for the next refiner. Small stack of cobalt, stack of oxygen. Once all of that's done processing, we have all of our ionized cobalt. Then what we're going to do is we're going to pick all of our oxygen up again. We're going to split it evenly into 5. So that way we can put 5 things of oxygen in all 5 of the refiners. And then we're going to also split up the ionized cobalt, and we're going to put those in each of the refiners as well. It's going to multiply the ionized cobalt. Alrighty, we've got all of our oxygen in there. We got 7,800 left that we can put in later. Now we have 4,820 of the ionized cobalt. So we are going to be splitting these up again. Pick it up, hit C. Pick it up, hit C. Pick it up, hit C. And then the last one is just going to be a small stack. So the last 2, that's fine. So then what we want to do is we want to drop that ionized cobalt in there. Hit begin. Go to the next one. Drop the ionized cobalt in there and hit begin. Do that for all of these. Alrighty folks, we are done refining the ionized cobalt. So we ended up with 8 and 3, almost a little over 3/4 stack of ionized cobalt. Now, yes, we are going to be crashing markets, but we're going to be doing it with multiple elements. This is just the first element right now. Alrighty, so in this system that we're in, because I only have 3 systems I can check right now. In this system here, they have cobalt and ionized cobalt. So what we can actually do, because right now it's at negative 1.8%, we can go over here. The ionized cobalt that we just processed, and we can sell all of that. Then we're going to turn right back around and go back over here. You can see we crashed the market with that because it's now negative 80.4 for that ionized cobalt. We'll hit that back button and we're going to buy all of it back. Now we have 25 million units. Now I've locked up, and my second system also sells ionized cobalt, and that market has not crashed yet. So it also does salt as well as cobalt. Every system has cobalt, so eventually we're going to be doing that as well. So right now we are going to sell all of that ionized cobalt that we just refined and sold at the last station. We're going to do it again. I'm going to sell it, and then we're going to turn right back around, go back, and we're going to buy all of it back. So now we're up to 51 million. Alrighty, so this is my third system, and I have lucked up, and all 3 of my systems have sold ionized cobalt. That's not going to be the way it is in every system, but I lucked up with this one. So we're going to do the same thing here. Now this also sells chlorine, which is we're going to be dealing in chlorine later, and it does the cobalt. Alrighty, so we're going to sell all of that ionized cobalt again. Then we're going to turn right back around and we're going to buy it back. There we go. We're up to 76 million units, which isn't too bad. We're crashing markets with 9 stacks. So what we want to do is we want to buy more oxygen because we're going to refine this again. I want to get at least 5 more stacks of ionized cobalt. Then I want to also purchase more oxygen, and we're going to refine our salt. So let me go through and buy the oxygen, and that way we can refine all of this stuff, and I can show you what we're going to do next. So I'll be back in a little bit. Alrighty folks, we're back at base now. I've gone through, I picked up 7 stacks of oxygen, and I also bought a stack and a half of the ionized cobalt while I was buying the oxygen as well. You can see here I've got all of the 9 stacks of ionized cobalt that we started with right here in our little storage container, which I've still got to go and pick up more storage containers. But what we want to do is we actually want to load these guys up with oxygen. So let me go through and put oxygen in all of these, and then we're going to go through and process that stack and a half of ionized cobalt. Alrighty folks, we're processing our salt into chlorine. Of course, I've already processed the salt into chlorine. We only had 800 of it. But I am now turning all of this chlorine into more chlorine. Alrighty, so what we can do while that is processing, we can come over here to the trade terminal at our base, or actually in the settlement here, and we can go to cobalt because they sell cobalt here, and we can sell all of our cobalt just like that, and then we can buy it all back at the reduced price. And there we go. Now you don't get as much as the ionized cobalt, but it does work, and it gives you another market to crash. So I'm going to go through the portal while these are all, I'm going to check on all of these, but I'll check on those. I'm going to go through the portal, visit my 3 solar systems, sell all of the cobalt, And then once the chlorine is done, we're going to go back through, we're going to do the same thing with the chlorine, and then I'm going to get a couple of stacks of extra chlorine. I'm going to break it back down into salt so we can have 10 stacks of salt, 10 stacks of chlorine, 10 stacks of cobalt, and 10 stacks of ionized cobalt. And we're going to go through that entire process. And once all of that's done, we don't have to refine any of those items anymore. We just take them, we sell them, we buy back everything that they have, and we will constantly accumulate on top of those items. So let me go through, let me process the chlorine, let me sell all of the cobalt, and get the salt re-refined, or excuse me, get the chlorine refined back into the salt, and I'll be back at the end of the video and show you how much money I've made in that process. So I'll be back shortly. Alrighty folks, I am back. I'm all done refining and processing all of our elements. So I ended up with 8.5 stacks of salt. I'd have liked to have had more, but I ran out of oxygen, and I shorted myself. Matter of fact, I went back and even tried to buy some more oxygen, but I was still crashing markets with 8.5 stacks of salt. You can see I've got 9.5 stacks of the chlorine. I've got 10 1/3 stack of ionized cobalt, and I have 10 1/3 stacks of just straight cobalt. I've gone through the portal. I visited the 3 systems I have available to me, and I visited the settlement here. I've crashed all the markets I could. I bought a 17 million unit green machine hauler here, as you can see there on, let me see, there it is. You can see it's an A class, 31, 4, and 6. It's not great, but it did double my storage. That's the only reason I bought it. I am planning on upgrading this to something that definitely is not green. I also bought a class multi-tool that was available in my settlement here. I believe it was 1.5 million units for that. And then of course put in some of my upgrades. But we ended up with 276 million units after doing all of that. Now, if you remember, we started out just a quest or two ahead from where we are right now, where we had found Artemis's ship. We dismantled his ship. We took the money from that, which I believe we ended up with 1.3 million. I had 500,000 on me. We took all of that money, bought oxygen, and we went from there refining the cobalt and the salt, and then unrefining a few stacks of the ionized cobalt and the chlorine back down into their original form, which is going to be salt and cobalt, giving us the stacks that we have. So we went from 1.7 million is what we started with to 276 million units, and you can continue to go from there. Every system that you go to, you can hit that market. You've got 4 elements that you could potentially crash markets with in every system. Also, if you visit minor settlements or even trade stations on your planets, you have the potential to crash those markets as well, because they are separate markets from the space station market. So feel free to go nuts and start visiting other systems and crashing more markets and making more units and buying better ships. Don't stick with the green machine. Remember to save, scan, collect, and survive. If you found this guide helpful in any way, please make sure to click that like button. If you're new to the channel, maybe consider clicking that subscribe button and notification bell. You can also find links to my Discord, Buy Me a Coffee, Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit in the description below. Thank you again for joining me today. We'll see you in the next one. Take care and happy hunting.